Welcome back. Welcome back. I know the last video is a little bit low energy. It's not that I don't like opening packs. I love opening packs. Just not great pulls from Champion's Path. Don't love that set. So I thought I'd make it more exciting and do a video on my 5 favorite cards that I own. Not five favorite cards in general. That would definitely be Crystal Charizard or first edition base set Charizard at the top, but just 5 cards that I own. I'll start just by holding one up while I talk. So this is not meant to increase the prices of the cards. We don't have enough viewers for that, and also don't really need these cards' values to go up. Not planning to sell them. A lot of them are just modern cards, which I don't necessarily think are going to go way up in the future. Anyway, just cards that I really love. So this first one is the only one of these 5 that's not graded. This is Mega Rayquaza EX. There are 2 versions of this. There's also, I'll pull out this the shiny version that was sort of an alternate art printed in Ancient Origins. I love, the fact that it's shiny, but I actually like this card better. I just think at first I saw it, I hated it. I was like, it's so busy, so much going on, these Japanese letters, the pink, electricity coming out. But the more I look at it, the more I just get drawn into the art, and I absolutely love it. I'm also partial to it because I played this deck, Mega Rayquaza EX, at least online, with this ability, right? You need the shiny version of the card has a different ability that's not as useful here. In that deck, we use Skyfield and have tons of Pokemon in Slam. So overall, I just love the EX era, right? So late Black and White, X and Y series, the EX era full arts that are textured, but unlike the full arts in the whole Sun and Moon area and onward, I'll give an example. Here's a shiny Rayquaza of that style, right? The background is just a lot more plain. The shiny background's a little bit different because it has some stuff, but the backgrounds, the colors, complemented with the design of the card just make these full art from that era some of my favorite cards ever. I don't necessarily think they're going to go way up in the future. I just think that obviously modern stuff is just printed. We don't know how much, but printed to demand. I just have some of these cards as my absolute all-time favorites. So that is number 5. Number 4 is from a card I've shown before on the channel and from a set that I've talked about before. This is a pretty unique set that was only printed in Japanese. In general, I'm not a huge fan of Japanese cards, if you can have an English version too, but if it's a Japanese card that was never printed in English, it's the only way to get the card. This set came out right towards the end of when I was even possibly interested in Pokemon. I got 1 pack of it, those 30 card packs. I did not pull this card, so after getting back into Pokemon a couple years ago, I was looking up that set. I just loved so many of these cards. I'm very partial, as we'll see, to trainer-owned Pokemon. I think that's sort of an underrated aspect of cards. That one of the reasons I love Cosmic Eclipse, one of the recent sets, is they brought that back. At least in a sense, it doesn't say so-and-so's Pokemon, but it has them in the art. But trainer-owned Pokemon set you can never get in English. And then Karen, one of my favorite trainers of all time. She's in the Elite Four in Pokemon Silver, which I played, and Tyranitar, one of my favorite Pokemon. To be honest, this art for Tyranitar isn't my favorite Tyranitar art, but the fact that it's Karen's, the fact that it's so unique. All the verse cards from the set Versus had that verse stamp over there. They were all first edition, so it doesn't really mean anything. But I picked up this card later in PS 99, and since then, the values, I don't even know what it is right now, but way less than it is right now. I regret not getting a PSA 10. At one point, this was a couple years ago, I could have gotten a PSA 10 for $35. I ended up getting this one for a little bit more, just in 9. But I don't feel a strong need to own PSA 10s of pretty much anything. All right, next favorite card is another full art. This is the Charizard EX full art from Flashfire. Interestingly, so I'm going to sound like I'm cheating here, but I know that this card has gone way up in value recently, and even before that, I thought it was just way undervalued because, again, I love the full arts. There were so many different Charizard EXs printed in the EX era, so many different versions, in the Flashfire set and later on reprintings and evolutions and Mega Charizards and all that. And yet, this was the only non-Mega Charizard full art that was textured. There was a non-textured version, which I'll pull out here, which I also love. This is the promo that came in one of those Generations boxes with the Charizard figure that I still have. I love this card too. I'm also partial to cards that have multiple Pokemon in them instead of just one. But for me, the texture just does it. The fact that Charizard's pose, he's looking backward, kind of reminds me of the new Charizard V from Champion's Path, another reason why I love it. But this is 3rd favorite card that I own. And again, not super, don't care that much. I was just looking to get this card. I was able to get a PSA 8 for about the same price. I could have gotten an ungraded one, so I figured might as well get one that I know is at least guaranteed to be near mint. I would have been happy to have it ungraded too, just to put in a binder, because it's not a super high value card. And PSA 10 obviously is a premium that I wouldn't be willing to pay for it. But if you shine in the light, you can see the different textures on the wing and everything else, and sometimes I just look at it. All right. Number 2 for me is the original the rookie card version of Lugia. Lugia is one of, if not my favorite Pokemon. Neo Genesis came out just when I was getting into Pokemon as a kid, or right after I got into it. But Silver was the first game I played. Lugia was the Pokemon you got in Pokemon Silver as part of the plot, and I just absolutely love this original card. There's so much hollow pattern. So many. This is my favorite type of hollow pattern with the Cosmos with those bubbles and the swirls. Sometimes you can see in them like over there. The 3 different colors in the background. So a little bit of a story. I originally picked up a Lugia ungraded that just was a really, really nice condition. Jake encouraged me to get it graded, so we sent it into PSA through Jake's help. This was a year or so ago. I got it back. It came back in 9, which was super exciting. Also unlimited, right? So not first edition, obviously not as nearly as valuable. But I just saw what that card was going for, and it was going up and up in price, and I sold it. I just mean, for almost, I think it was probably over $400. Now it's worth even more than that. I don't even know how much. So at the time, it was a good decision. I'd rather have the money to buy other Pokemon cards, and I figured I could just pick up a PSA 7 instead of a 9 for a fraction of the price. So I sold that one for about $400. I get this card for $50 or $60, and I was really happy. Until I noticed there are just certain aspects of the condition I'm not thrilled with. There's that dent up there. The hollow definitely scratches, although it's hard to tell which scratches are on the sleeve versus the PSA case versus the card itself, but definitely has some. And then the top border of this card does not look good. It actually looks nicer on camera than in person. In person, it just looks totally roughed up on the top border. I'm surprised this got a 7. If I were PSA, I would have given this a 5 or a 6. So I think if it got regraded, it would be even lower. I thought condition didn't matter that much to me, but I think for me, my borderline is like a 7 or an 8. 7 or 8 near mint, that's good enough. This one doesn't feel near mint to me. I kind of regret losing that 9 because it looked so nice condition-wise, and also because the hollow pattern looked a lot kind of more special. There was like a big swirl in there, which I know people like. So in hindsight, I might have even kept that PSA 9, even though I can make so much money off it, enough to buy this one and then more cards after that. Now, my number one favorite is a card I do not have with me in my hands. I'm going to show a picture of it. Hopefully that video editing works, and you can see right here, Blaine's Arcanine, first edition. So bit of history on this card too. The reason I don't have it in front of me is because I sent it off to PSA to be graded. My first time sending cards to PSA without Jake's help. We made a video on that, my experience of it. Otherwise, still obviously waiting for it to come back, and I'll make a video of it as soon as those cards come back. But Blaine's Arcanine is one of the few cards I sent because I don't think mine is necessarily going to get a 10. I think best case it gets a 9, more realistic probably an 8, worst case probably a 7. So hoping for an 8, really hoping for a 9. And I do not plan on selling it. My favorite card that I own, possibly one of my favorite cards of all time, irrespective of what I own. The reason is when I was getting into collecting as a kid, the gym sets, Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge, were not yet out in English, but they were out in Japanese, and we had this collector's book, my brother and I, showing pictures of all the Japanese cards that hadn't yet come out in English, and there was so much speculation at the time. Obviously, kids knew nothing, so we were like, would this ever come out in English? Is it only in Japanese? And I would just stare at those pictures, and especially the Blaine's Arcanine. Part of it is I love Arcanine, I love Blaine, the picture is just so iconic to me. I love the old drawing style with those thick lines, the outline of the Pokemon with thick lines, and the fact that it could do 120 damage, which was the most at the time, and for a while, as far as I remember, the most damage any single attack could do. It wasn't necessarily good, right? Although I wouldn't know that much about it because I didn't play the game back then, but I just thought it looked and just seemed, biggest damage attack, cool Pokemon. Who knows if I could ever get it. And then at one point, I don't recall this specific memory, my brother and I did get it. We pulled it from a pack, not even from the theme deck you could get it from. We got first edition Blaine's Arcanine. I kept it for all these years, and didn't get it graded the first time. Jake helped me send cards because I knew it wouldn't get a 10, but upon thinking about it, I'd really love to get that card encapsulated and see what it comes out, and just stare at it like I do with the other cards. So I'll remove the image. You can see the other ones here. These are my favorite cards that are PSA graded, and the non-PSA graded one. As a bonus, what I'll show is a page from my binder here with my favorite full arts. I just talk up the X and Y era full arts so much, I thought I'd show more of them. Let me pull up the camera for a second. So up here, these 8 cards are the secret rares, secret with gold borders from the X and Y eras. So these came in Breakthrough, Breakpoint, Fates Collide. Let's see if I remember. The Steam Siege were these 2. And these actually came in a special XY premium set you could get that I got mostly for the promos, especially these 2 promos. I'm a sucker for all these because, again, the multiple Pokemon in the background, the texture of the full art, I love them so much. And these are the 4 promos you can get in those generation boxes, which are not textures I don't love, but I love the art style, especially on the Venusaur, very cartoony, old style with the Pokemon in the background. And I think the pose of the Pikachu is just die for, right? This is like an evil Pikachu. Then on this side, these are two of my favorite cards in Generations, the Full Art non-EX, right? So it's a textured Full Art card, even though it's non-AX, the Legendary Birds. This Stained Glass one, love to, and Lugia again. Favorite Pokemon, Full Art version. Hopefully one day I can get the Full Art from the Black and White era also. Rayquaza is another favorite Pokemon. I showed these cards already. And then Ho-Oh. I love this Full Art version of Ho-Oh in the texture with the rainbow pattern in the background. This rainbow rare one, again, I'm not a huge fan of the rainbow rares. I'd rather have like the real colors, with some kind of interesting background instead of just a plain monocolor background. But this came in that pro box, so keeping it here anyway. And then these are alternative art versions of Mew EX and Mewtwo EX. You can get one of those promo boxes. I actually obtained them otherwise. But that rainbow in the background of Mew, I think just looks so amazing. Almost as amazing as the Black and White era Full Art Mew, which I also hope to get someday. So that is my binder pages of my favorite Full Arts, excluding the one that is graded, which is the Charizard. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll make another one sometime soon.